Hi, this is Aaliyah Swaby, and you're listening to WNHH-LP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from New Haven, Connecticut, and streaming live at www.newhavenindependent.org.
Told the plug I need 100 pigs, now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs, now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 pigs, now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs, now my shoebox got 100 G.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and newhavenindependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com/newhavenindependent or go to your Facebook page, look us up, and of course hit see first so you can get all the great shows that are here on WNHH. Besides Cannabis Corner, we have the Joe Ugly Show in the morning. We have Harry Draws breaking the mainstream media.
Yes, sir.
Love Babs. We have all kinds of good shows here on the station.
Our friend Robin Porter was on.
This earlier,
That's
Robin
right.
on there with Paul Bass on his show.
That's right.
Very political. So, yeah, a lot of great shows here. And remember, this is an independent radio station, so there's a lot more free thought and a lot more free ideas here. So, here we are. And here comes Kebra. Yes.
What's
All
up,
right. Now
Rocky?
the gang's all here. Kebra, the mic next to Harry is going to be your mic. All right. Welcome, Kebra. Kebra's here. And also in studio, you might notice a unfamiliar face, but if you're in the Connecticut cannabis industry, he's a very familiar face. Mr. Joseph Raymond from the New England Craft Cannabis Alliance.
Wow. How are you, Joe?
I'm good. So,
Kebra. Anybody know any good pot stocks?
I don't even want to go there. Because actually, if you're looking at investment, never mind. We cannot go there because that is a major conflict of interest. Anyway, so this weekend, nice big event on Sunday. We all were there.
Yes, it was
in
amazing.
various capacities. It was the Gene Traders event at Oakdale, which a lot of people don't know. Gene Traders has been around for a while. They've been doing events up around Massachusetts,
Rhode Island.
Right.
So the entire New England, Northeast coast. It's pretty cool. So those guys are awesome. Big shout out to them.
Big shout out, and they took it to another level here, bringing it to Connecticut. It was the first of its kind event. It wasn't your usual cannabis event. It was specifically targeted to a specific audience, and that being growers. So it was very successful in my eyes. I really thought
I had to say it was a super
I
successful.
thought it was a very
event as well.
successful gathering. A lot of people got together. Some people there that you wouldn't normally see on the Connecticut cannabis scene. You had Dr. Uma came down.
It was special that Dr. Uma came down. It really showed that this was one of those top-notch events, and just to have her come down and the amount of people that was there.
In and out throughout the day. I think they had a very good crowd.
I think it was amazing. Nobody bothered anybody. It was super peaceful gathering. I think it was the first time they had an event and there wasn't a bunch of drunks.
That's true. They probably want more of these. Bring more of these events here. Right.
I take cannabis consumers over alcohol consumers any day.
Right, and I'm sure they would
everybody
too.
enjoys a drink, whatever your preferences are. But a lot of times when there's large gatherings like this, and people tend to get drunk, one or two person can set off 4 or 5 people.
Right.
And it's usually a domino
and
effect.
it has happened there
It
at
has
Oakdale
happened
before.
at the Oakdale before.
Yes,
Oh,
it
gosh.
has. Right.
People have been murdered at the Oakdale. Like, for real.
It's not. Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah,
It's a
2
huge
people
music
got killed
venue.
from New Haven.
They do tons of venues out there. It's where my college graduation was.
Right.
So it's a great venue.
And it's got a lot of history.
Tons of history.
So
but
now we're going to make history.
we're gonna make
there,
more history.
right? We're going to make more history there. We got an expo, I think, the Farming Hep
Farming Hep Expo
on
March
the 9th.
9th,
Yep.
which is also, Lou's doing a great job, and
Shout out to Lupino.
Let's keep keep supporting him. And
Yep.
this is the second event in his series.
Absolutely.
And we're super excited to continue to keep pushing that. And
This is what we have to do.
we're personally invested in it as well. We're big hemp people. We have the hemp series hopefully starting at some point.
We're going to teach some hemp classes here in Connecticut
with Ellen.
Yep. Ellen Brown,
that's
who was at the conference as well.
Who came to the conference as well.
Love
exactly.
Ellen.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
really, really nice. Very refreshing to see the different crowd of the growers and the genetics people there
And it
finally
drew,
coming into Connecticut.
it drew tourism.
Yeah.
Because people were coming from other states.
Right.
And that was a big thing. And when you
That's
sit and you
right.
think and you go, wow, this group of guys drove down from Maine. Like,
Yeah.
they
Just
have
to
legal
come to
cannabis.
Connecticut.
Like,
Uma
they're
came
just-
from Mass.
Yeah.
Ellen came from Mass.
They're
A
just-
lot of these genetic guys came from Mass.
Yeah.
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 Move up a little bit. Your mic.
Yep.
Yeah. No, you
Perfect.
move the mic. You don't have to move.
So we're very excited about that. That was amazing. And to see so much representation of the Northeast drawing traffic into Connecticut, because
Right.
realistically, it wasn't that many of the Connecticut consumers and community
Yeah.
came out. They came, they made a nice show, but the out-of-state representation was awesome, and it proves that tourism is alive and well if you give them a
Something to
viable
come
reason.
to. Yeah.
It's one of those old adages: if you build it, they will come.
Yes.
You know?
So one of the things we talked about quite a bit there at the conference was corporate weed versus craft cannabis or versus small business type of cannabis legislation here in Connecticut. And we had a nice expert panel, and Joe also spoke on it himself. I really feel that right now this is one of the biggest issues that we have. And you even started a group, the
New England Craft Cannabis Alliance.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the group, what its purpose is.
So basically, the group is to promote, sustainable and good small business transactions and niche markets in a recreational cannabis market. With emphasis on a cottage industry,
right,
where everybody's lending hands to one another and helping each other out, and it's community based rather than a corporate controlled scheme that the legislator was looking at with 5595, which I do believe we killed it.
Kill Bill.
Well,
I went Uma Thurman on them.
I think that particular bill is killed. But I do think that whatever they come up with, I do believe the legislator
They don't want me to keep digging.
They still are interested in using the medical program to jumpstart the rec program.
Well, because they're under this false illusion. Is that like a double negative? But they're under this false illusion that the medical program is the best in the country, and they keep saying it, and I think people are starting to believe it. But I think we need to come out.
What if it is the best in the country,
that was
right?
true.
Let's concede that. Why mess with it?
Let's say it's true, okay?
Why mess with it?
Here's the problem. These companies, when the Canadian Stock Exchange around October, they let these companies go public. All kinds of money was raised then by investment firms. And it happened to be that for whatever reason, a lot of Russian interest got involved. Particularly in one Curaleaf Holdings, which is the biggest dispensary franchised owner in the country now.
Right. For those people who don't know, Connecticut, Curaleaf Company actually started in Connecticut. They were purchased by this large company owned by, what's the man's name? Boris Johnson?
Boris Jordan. He is the chief investor from something called Sputnik International.
Okay.
He was involved in the late...
Sounds Russian.
Yeah. He was involved in the late 90s when things were going down in Russia and they were privatizing industries, and basically the oligarchy started. He provided a lot of the money and the capital to crush these industries and help his associates take them over. When I dug for some information on him, I started reading articles coming from Moscow about how he was almost bragging about the cannabis industry in America and how it was, the same outlook that he had in the Soviet Union in the 90s.
Yep, I think he called it the new gold rush, right?
Right. Yes. And I think maybe lawmakers, and I could see it, maybe it's gotten past them. They didn't realize it. It was something that happened very quickly. Money was raised. It was like a vacuum. Once session went in these states, the vacuum started pulling that.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. The state has no control over what the individual companies do. So they couldn't stop Curaleaf from selling. Correct. I don't think when the deal went through that anybody really realized who this new company was that was just taking on the Curaleaf name, really. They just really bought the brand. And I think that they just changed the name of the company that already existed.
Right.
And I don't think anybody had any idea of really how deep the funding went. Nobody really looked into them. And I think now is the time when now you see these people have not only controlled the medical industry already in Connecticut for 4 years now, and now they want more. They want the whole. They want the rec industry too. Right. And now it's time. We have to look into these people. Do we want Russian interests here in Connecticut in our? We already have them.
A Soviet-style recreational.
We already have them in our medical industry. Do we want to give them more control into our rec industry? I don't think so.
Right, and that's the problem with it. With considering this cannabis industry in Connecticut being corporate. You want local people, community-minded people involved in this industry. You don't have any control when it's like this.
You think Boris cares what happens in Connecticut?
Absolutely not.
Well,
absolutely not.
We talk about this, how Connecticut is the quote-unquote best medical practice.
Why mess with it?
Here's one instance of,
is it?
We talk about it's great, but then we have every other article talking about this company spent another $100,000 on breaking the rules that we may have the nice model,
but it's
nobody's
not a
following
nice model.
it. But
it's
See,
a closed model.
I don't get to grow my own cannabis. That's my problem. I don't get to have something that I know will work for me.
Right.
So that's where my biggest issue is. I have to rely on what's at the dispensary. So now I go get something at the dispensary. I check it out. I go, what's all these seeds?
Or dry.
What's all these seeds? Wait a second, and then if I accidentally throw a seed on the ground by accident and it happened to grow, now but you gave me the seed. I just paid $50 for this package and it came with 5 seeds. That sounded 100% like the same things that I might get if I went to a seed bank. I'd pay $50 for 5 seeds. Thank you, AGL, Curaleaf. Thank you, Connecticut Pharmaceutical, for your 5 seeds. But I didn't buy seeds. I can't grow them now. So if you're not going to give me the quality product without the seeds, not fast cured, not extra dry, it hasn't been flushed all the way, I can smoke that and feel it and taste it. I want to do it myself because I will get a better quality medicine because you've proven to me that you're not the quality that I hold to myself.
Right. And it's corporate cannabis. Let's be real. And everybody who's in the program, there's 30,000 people in the program who depend on this. You guys,
and they can't afford it.
Right.
And there's so much therapy in growing your own medicine, and that whole process, like, it's so therapeutic. Like, we're telling people that this is medicine, and we're suggesting and recommending people with PTSD, consume cannabis to manage the symptoms, but we're not even giving them the full effect of the flower to be able to really see it grow from a seed to a plant to medicine. That's something that's important, and we're just totally missing the mark on this whole thing. Like, it's just ridiculous how they're looking at cannabis in such a disrespectful manner. Just like money.
Respect my lady.
Yeah, like,
respect my lady.
I'm saying cannabis saved my life every day. You know what I'm saying? And so many others. And I don't even have the same kind of story that some other people have. Like the lady we were talking to yesterday, who is a veteran and who was on 26 prescription pills. Oh my God. And was able to, the only pill she said she still takes, only pharmaceutical pill she still takes, is a cardiac pill because it helps
regulates
with
her heartbeat, right?
Exactly. But other than that, she just medicates with cannabis. It helps her with her pain as a vet. It helps her with her PTSD. It helps her with her circulation. She wasn't able to she was walking with the walker and now she can walk on her own. She just has a support dog or something.
Yeah.
But it's just the point that like there are people who really need to have the full benefit of the plant. And everybody talks about CBD, which is great. I am all pro CBD.
Yeah.
I love my CBD coffee. Thank you, Go Joe's. Or whatever. But I also love THC too, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's
because
right.
the plant
Shout out
works.
to THC.
Yeah, shout out to THC. I mean, the plant really works
Together.
together. Well,
Yes.
that's the entourage
Yes.
effect. But like I said, even taking, to be able to cultivate your own medicine, that there's so many elements that this cannabis plant touches, and it's really sad that we're not
Right. And
not really respecting it. They're looking at it as dollars, and we're looking at it as
Right.
life changing.
I was pretty insulted, and I love a lot of the lawmakers. I have some friendships with some of them, and I have conversations about cannabis, and it's really insulting when an issue like this comes up, the bill comes up, and not one of these advocates, anyone, is brought into the room, the same room where the lobbyists from these corporate entities
Are invited.
are invited in and are
Mhm.
negotiating
Right.
with some of these
Throwing around
lawmakers
money?
are representatives
Look.
from my district, and it's
Mhm.
like I can't even get the minute I bring up the issue, it goes silent.
Well, I'll tell you, I was watching Robin Porter and Josh Elliott on the air right
And we-
before us, as a matter of
And
fact.
we appreciate all your comments. We're reading them.
Right.
Keep going.
We'll get right to 'em.
Cody.
Cody,
Sometimes you got to give us a couple seconds to talk.
give us a break
You will
now,
get
Cody.
your time.
No, Cody, you good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love you,
5595
Cody.
is dead. I mean, but yeah, we want proof too. Like we're
Yeah.
not gonna allow.
And I have a feeling that might not come because that will hurt those corporate entities
Right.
shareholders.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Now
Well,
we
here's
are
the
at
thing.
the
Oh.
mercy of the shareholders.
And let me just say, I ran into the lobbyists for the growers
Where were
the
you?
other day up
Oh,
at
which
the
one
Capitol.
of the 11?
Two of the 11 actually. It was a tag team couple. And so I said, are you in support of Senate Bill 690, which ensures equity in cannabis? And she was like, oh, I wanted to talk to you about this. We'd like to set up an internship program.
Oh, sure.
I said, these are grown people who want to change the lives of their lives and their family's lives. They don't want no internships. That's not equity.
Right.
Equity is not giving me a 6-week internship
Right.
for not paying me.
Right.
That's not equity.
I keep hearing about this work for free stuff
Yeah,
while
man.
other people make
Those
money.
days are
They used,
gone.
they used to call it indentured servitude.
Yeah,
I think,
Yeah, that's what
guys.
it's called.
I don't
Yeah.
really like that philosophy.
Pay
so.
your dues. Pay your dues.
And listen,
Yeah,
How
I did.
How can I pay your
I
dues? You
did.
got no money.
And let me
paid
just
my
say,
dues.
let me just say, I have interns that I have come in and work with me sometimes. So internships have their place.
You also
But it's not-
provide opportunity.
Absolutely.
one
as
thing
soon as I
people
was
don't
able to
understand
hire
that.
somebody, I hire somebody.
That's
you know?
right.
But the thing is though, they are saying these internships and stuff like that in place of opportunity. They're not the
Right.
same. Like that's
No.
not equity.
No.
And they really need to understand
Get
that.
experience
so
in their
many-
system
Yeah.
to get another job in
Yeah.
their system.
Yeah.
We don't want anything to do with
Yeah,
your
I
system.
mean,
matter
that-
of fact, we're going to try to keep your system out of the state.
So here's the only thing I think they're gonna try and do. They see 690. They want to allow felons into the industry and they want to do expungement. They may add that into the new bill, but still try to keep the medical being
Exactly.
because
The
what they'll
launching
say is,
board.
well, look, we're going to allow felons into the industry. No, what you're allowing is felons to get a job
right.
And
at
what
one of the
and let's
big
get it
Release all
correct.
marijuana
Let's-
prisoners.
Thanks.
Yeah, let's get it correct. These are formerly incarcerated individuals that being felons does not make that,
They
that's
did
not
their
it.
time.
I hate when people are described in such a way, especially when we have corporate entities that are doing the
Well,
exact same
the
thing
way-
with the exact opposite intentions. And then they're not criminals.
How many
So,
people that are running corporations are felons?
Yeah, exactly.
for whatever
for
reason
corporate
that they're
white
doing.
collar
But
Felon,
I think we-
cokehead,
if you apply-
alcoholic.
yeah, if
We
if
have a
you-
much bigger problem
If you're
than the
applying to
cokeheads
my
right
company,
now.
make sure you put your
Right.
felon there because I want
Yeah.
to know if racketeering was one. You might just be
Yeah.
at the head of the list.
Yeah. Right.
You just might have to, if it was something with money or something and you got away with it for a long, you might be on the top
I
of the
mean,
list.
you got a convicted felon as the mayor of
The Cannabis
Bridgeport. You
Corner
remember that?
does not support illegal activities and criminal
So
behavior.
one thing that the legislators, the lawmakers need to realize is that any state that these corporate entities have gone into thus far in the recreational,
Oh, I have a nice article
you
we can
know,
look at.
eco markets,
You know,
they've ruined them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Look
let's.
at California. Look at Florida. You're talking
Yeah.
about
Florida.
monopolies.
Oh, I was just reading
They've
how they're
ran-
ready for the big takeover
oh,
down
they're
there.
gonna have a huge. They're
That's
gonna
why-
have corporate weed down
But let's talk about something positive for a second before we stay on this rant.
All right.
Today's show is
Let's
No, I
talk
got a lot
about
to talk
what
about, yes.
Hartford is doing.
Oh,
Have
yes.
you been looking at Hartford?
Yes.
Hartford is.
Hartford is really trying to take the lead. So they had the resolution. Well, first of all, they had those cannabis forums
Oh yeah.
where
We all
they
participated.
educated.
Yes,
Yeah, they
did.
educated
Keebler was
all
a
of the
note
council
speaker.
members.
Yes, Joe was. Everybody was up there very
Yeah.
much.
And then they put in place the resolution that
Mhm.
says that they welcome cannabis businesses in the city of Hartford and will do what they can to support these entities and, make them grow and be profitable and, really kind of make sure those funds go back to the city. And now they're talking about, they just unanimously voted to create like this work group
Mhm.
to ensure equity in cannabis in the city of Hartford and really kind of map out how they'll lay out their legal cannabis
right.
businesses in Hartford. And so I really want to shout them out and like call New Haven out
For
because-
not doing it.
for
Yeah,
not
for not
doing
doing
it.
And we tried. We did start the process with the
Yes.
alders.
Right.
And they never took it. They never took
Right.
it any further. And it's up to them to vote on it and take it to
Mhm.
the next step. They never did.
Exactly.
And we're still willing to continue to do the fight because we want New Haven
Oh, yeah.
to.
It's
we
not
want,
too late.
That's right. We want New Haven to follow suit in that because realistically, you want your cannabis businesses here. And as
Yeah.
those laws start to fight and they put those little caveats that, we're going to put some in, or no, we want to own in our
Right.
communities. If we're, I
It's
went
not,
to
this
college
is not
out
about
here, you
jobs.
know what
I
I
like
mean?
that word,
This
Cody.
is where we're at.
Symbiotic relationship. Yes, that's what we're looking for.
and this is where we're at. This is what we need to do. This is if the city of New Haven alders said we are welcoming cannabis businesses into New Haven, that would attract more of those
Absolutely.
businesses. Then from that, you can do the exact same thing Hartford do. We will make
Right.
sure that it's an equitable portion.
Right.
Then from there, they can take it even further. Those community host relationships won't be dictated by everybody else.
Right.
Now you're able to dictate your own community host
Right.
agreements
Right.
built on the backs of both sides of the parties by the incoming entrepreneur and by the city, because you understand that there's already a partnership in place. It's not establishing a new partnership because there's a new opportunity. This is establishing a long-lasting relationship with cannabis before it's even here.
Right.
Right.
And I said this about Hartford, this is what we need in New Haven is proactiveness. Like
Right.
instead of everything passing now, everybody's running around scrambling how we're going to get these, or not issuing licenses or not letting businesses get off the ground from the beginning because you're not prepared. Get prepared.
That's it.
Yeah.
Get prepared. Be prepared for this.
Yes, yes. And well, those of us are.
Well,
are.
I mean, we
And this
are.
is the whole
I'm talking about
thing.
the city.
So here we are.
I'm ready.
There's
Yeah,
four
me too.
people here who really want to get into cannabis industry. The current market only allows really for Kebra to be in there
Correct.
because she
Yeah.
is a nurse to give out medical marijuana recommendation. I can't get a job
hire
for
people to
my
do that.
reasons.
Yes.
So none of us right now we're shut out of the industry.
Right.
We want to be able to get into the industry.
Right.
This is the
Correct.
point. Part of why we fight for it is because we want to help
Absolutely.
build a cannabis industry here in
That's right.
Connecticut.
Infrastructure.
That's right.
And this is also where you also say this is where somebody who would potentially want to be a cultivator, and I want to be an ancillary service.
Right.
So I'm not even somebody looking to touch the
Do we,
plant,
me neither.
Mhm.
but I'm still shut out of the.
Mhm.
I'm still shut out of the industry.
Right.
Mhm.
And
And
you
all I
would
just
be
wanna
under
be-
the new proposal.
Exactly.
And it's important to say, even Kebra only is able to act as a portal
Mhm.
to the corporate
Right.
entities that
The
are
corporate
Exactly.
entities,
controlling
right. She can only
the
own her
oligarchy
only
that is marijuana or cannabis in Connecticut. Sorry,
Right.
Cody,
Yeah.
for calling it marijuana.
And I can't even and like he's saying, I can't even say, well, I
Mhm.
know Mr. Raymond over here, he has a certain quality and he'll be able to, make sure that works for your symptoms, and we know it'll be right, and we know
and it
it'll be what
always
it says.
has it.
And he always has it. Like
Right.
instead, I have because of the limited nature
Mhm.
of our current industry, I can't even do that.
Yeah, you have to be real and say, well, maybe this will work for you, but they won't always have it.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to try this or this and that.
And they're already homogenizing all the strains and they're not giving credit to the growers that bred these.
Oh, yeah, no, they changed the names.
These terpene profiles that work specifically to different ailments. And it's just I just really hope that lawmakers really take a good look at what they could possibly do by allowing this big entity to control so much money.
Well, yeah. Well, let's take a look at the 3 entities we're talking about. Okay, so I'm looking at an article here. It says 7 companies that could win the American cannabis market. Okay, so here they are. There are 7 companies. Number 1 on the list, Curaleaf.
Huh.
Good old Boris Jordan.
Boris Jordan and Angre Block.
Koviv Kush.
It has deep pockets to make acquisitions and extend its dispensary network beyond the 13 states where it is licensed to open up 61 shops. 42 are up and running. It lost $41 million on sales of the $55 million in 9 months ended in September 2018. So they're not even that profitable yet, but yet they own 61 licenses.
Because they know it's coming.
Say the reason why they're not profitable just yet is because of the amount of money they're spending on those
to get
licenses.
these acquisitions. Exactly.
So what they're doing is they've put a large, in their first year here, first couple years, they've put a large expense on the books, hoping that over the next couple years that expense gets covered. So they're going to operate under a loss for the first 2 or 3 years where they're not going to pay any taxes. All right. So now they operate as a loss, but they still took in billions of dollars.
Right.
All right. Across 13 states, which has more.
And we're one of them.
And we're one of them.
And they won't name the biggest shareholders except for Boris Jordan.
Right.
They won't, because the rest of them are also Soviet descent.
So this is what we're talking about. The number 1 Curaleaf, Russian interest.
And it wasn't the
not in my
Curaleaf
neighborhood.
Russian, they're everywhere.
No.
And that's not
just
the Curaleaf.
rebranded.
They just rebranded their own company.
Right.
Imagine McDonald's saying, wow, we really like the name Uncle Joe's Burger Shack.
Yeah.
And
I'm
they
going to
said,
buy your company.
I'm going to buy Uncle Joe's Burger Shack. But we don't want to be known as McDonald's anymore because they hate McDonald's, but they like Uncle Joe's Burger Shack. So now McDonald's becomes Uncle Joe's Burger Shack.
Right. Right.
And they now own 10 million Uncle Joe's Burger Shacks, and the warm and fuzzy feeling has been put over your eyes.
Yep.
You still hate McDonald's. Guess what? It's still McDonald's. We're not worried about McDonald's. I'm just an example.
We're offering an internship though at Uncle Joe's.
Oh yeah. You're offering be an intern.
So,
you guys want to work for free.
So here we go. Here's number 2. Green Thumb Industries. Now, for those of you who don't
another
know,
one, GTI. They in Connecticut too.
They just purchased AGL,
Yes, sir.
which was a Connecticut-owned company who just decided to sell out to
They
GTI.
got
Good
their-
old
they got
Dave
their
Lipton.
money.
And
Get
not
down.
only do they own all of AGL, they own half of the new dispensary opening up in Westport, making them the first vertically integrated company in Connecticut.
Mhm.
And I thought in our law,
How dare you talk
vertical
about them like that?
integration was not allowed.
No,
Wait a second.
it is allowed in our law.
It is.
It
Yes.
absolutely is.
Oh.
Single
So
source.
let's
But
hear-
they made sure that they didn't make that known.
Yeah.
But vertical integration is absolutely allowed in the law. There's nothing against that says you can't own both. But they definitely don't publicize that.
I wonder what products they're going to carry.
Well, corporate cannabis. So Green Thumb Industries runs 20 stores from its home base in Chicago. It has licenses to open 83 of its Rise dispensaries in 10 states. So I guess we know what the new one in Westport's going to be called, Rise. The shops will offer a wide variety of cannabis. Blah, blah, blah. So here we're talking, they own 83 licenses in 10 states. So
we can't get one.
We can't get
what
one.
kind
I
of
don't even
shit's
need one.
naive?
We could share one.
And they want now to go into the recreational market.
What
They just
kills-
bought a medical grower.
What kills me is how does the lawmaker trust corporate greed over local passionate people? How can you not trust us to be
Let me tell you,
responsible?
I was listening to Robin here on the air this morning, and she kept saying, Small local businesses,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs. We want neighborhood businesses. This is the way it should be. This is the way to grow the economy, et cetera, et cetera. So how does she feel that way about all other businesses except cannabis? Unless,
she said except cannabis.
well, no, she didn't mention cannabis.
Well,
Uh-oh.
somebody's
but if
hushing.
she is supporting
5595.
5595,
I think she's off of there.
She is, okay.
Yeah, I think
she
she's off
showed
of
us a
there.
lot of support in a bunch of things. you know?
Yeah.
But
Especially with
we
the
do
grow.
need them
need her
to
to
talk,
say
it.
to
Yeah.
talk, like
Yeah, to
all the
talk.
way.
They're being a lot quiet.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh,
Fact
Harry?
checks. Fact checks.
Yes,
Oh.
yeah, she talked about how it was made illegal because for the racial reasons. Yes, she gave him a big history lesson.
Big support. She's
but
got tons. She's awesome.
Big support.
yeah,
Both
yeah.
of them
Yeah.
said they supported it,
Absolutely.
but they sloughed over any other issue. They didn't
Okay.
say anything about how they support it. They just said, yes, we support legalized cannabis. Robin gave a really great history lesson
Yes.
about why she supports it
Mhm.
and why she thinks it should be, you know,
And
there
thank
should be
you, Robin,
equity
for
in
our
the
medical
program,
grow
et
right.
cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
But they
Yeah.
stopped short of discussing any details
So-
about any
Well,
bills.
I know that Robin is on
Yes.
Senate Bill
Mhm.
690 as
Yes.
a co-sponsor, and she is definitely in support of it. I mean, I know we're gonna have a forum really soon
Yep.
in New Haven, and so I'm sure she'll be more specific about her support for equity in cannabis. But I don't think there's any reason to doubt that. But yes, I really feel like at this point, although I think some of the legislators, especially it seems like the legislators of color, they don't want it to be like they're the ones championing cannabis
Right.
like that
Well,
because they don't feel like they don't want to be like, oh yeah, the black one is going, for cannabis or whatever. I mean, that's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to think, what some of the, but
Right.
I just feel, I think at the end of the day, we still buy into so many stereotypes
Oh.
and stigmas ourselves, even amongst, somebody was just saying in a meeting, when I was up in Boston, we were talking about equity, and someone brought up the fact that like how we as advocates will be so quick to concede when people who are like trying to give us a hard time about legalization say stuff like, well, what about the kids? And we're like, all right, we'll spend $55,000 extra on packaging to make sure kids can't get into flower. But if kids get into flower, really what's going to happen?
You know what I say
Nothing.
to that?
Nothing.
You know what I say to
know?
that? If we could trust the alcohol industry, because we clearly know now, science says that cannabis is much safer than alcohol.
Not a gateway
If
drug.
they can be trusted to keep alcohol and be responsible and safety first with alcohol in the sales of it, we could be much more responsible.
Because we'll learn
with
But the
their
point is that we're
mistakes.
knowledgeable, and we should be
Correct.
saying, well, I understand we're not trying to dismiss your fears about, well, we are. We're trying to dismiss your fears about children, because if a kid got into a thing of flour, nothing would happen to them.
And it's already
And-
on the black market.
Yeah, and so when we say that though, we're pointing out, like, instead of conceding to everything they say,
Right.
like, of driving and all
What
this
about
stuff.
the babies?
Yeah, like it's ridiculous because
Well,
if we
did that
hit them with the
medical
science,
here.
And we did do it with medical. That's the problem, because we conceded too much. And this is a point that I've brought up many, many, many
Yeah.
times in private conversations. And I think it's time for me to really say it.
mm-hmm.
Thank you to everybody who championed the medical program. But now that we're going into the recreational adult use program, the adult use program thinks that it's okay. So when the medical first passed, everybody was like, okay, we're going to work hard to get the stuff that we missed. Because, yes, we missed some stuff.
Grow rights, right? We'll deal with that
Yeah,
later.
we'll
right?
deal with it later.
And you see,
And this is where we are now, because it didn't get dealt with, because it was such a fight. And everybody was fighting. Let's not say they weren't. They were
Mhm.
completely fighting, and it just didn't move forward, because now it became, you know what, we'll just deal with it with adult use.
Mhm, mhm.
So the buck has been passed twice now.
Mhm.
Do we pass that buck
We
anymore?
can't. There's no more bucks
There's
to
no
pass.
more buck to pass. We
No,
need it
this is
right
it.
now. We need it the
Yeah.
way we do it, or that's just what it
Yeah,
is. And
there's no more
home
buck.
grow, right? You need to be able to have the option.
Whether it's a rec or patient,
Right.
one or the other. We
You
have
need the
to have
option.
both, hopefully, but
Because it's not going to kill the program. Let's not be.
it hasn't
coy.
killed it
It's
in any
not
other
gonna
state.
kill
No.
it.
Like most people don't have the time to grow
There
any
you go.
cannabis. They
Let's
don't
be
have the
realistic.
desire or the ability. Like,
I can't
yes,
grow.
it's pretty. It's if you follow, it could be kind of simple. But at the same time, there are people who can't. Like, I killed a cactus. So like that's
That's
almost
right, Mama
impossible.
Key. She don't want to. Mama Key does not want to be the person sitting inside of her garden for 16 hours. She's got a lot of other things to
I mean,
do.
maybe in a couple years, but not right now.
Also, the industry has evolved, and the amount of cannabis needed for processing into, high quality vape oils, the pens,
Extracts,
the
right.
cartridges,
Extracts,
I mean, even edibles.
edibles.
Yeah, edibles.
Yeah.
I don't really think the legislator has a grip on the size of the black market that exists right now and how much money they're really losing.
And how much more cannabis those producers are going to have to produce
Right.
to handle
They
the
have no
recreational
idea.
market. You're going from 30,000 to maybe 300,000
Mhm.
in a day.
My hope would be to have this beautiful cottage industry one day where we're literally putting some of the best cannabis for processing too, where we know where everything's coming from instead of relying on California for what we can't grow here and evading the DEA and everything else. There's no reason for it anymore, and the legislator is trying to tightly regulate us because of their fear of that it's going to change something. It's going to be on their hands.
Or there's continuing the stigmatization of cannabis and cannabis users as criminals.
You can only trust
we'll
cannabis
grow
to big corporations.
That's right.
Because we're going to grow it and we're going to immediately become drug dealers and just sell it all over the world.
That's the part I don't
You
understand.
can only trust the industry to big corporations. That's what they're thinking. These corporations and their lobbyists, let's be real, their lobbyists have convinced these legislators that you can trust us and you can
But to
trust
shut the door to us.
because look how good we've done with the medical. It's all a lot of lies and propaganda. How many legislators are actually in the medical program? Zero.
Right.
Well, that ain't true.
Let's not.
Oh, really?
I've certified a couple myself.
Well, then we should ask them what they think of them.
They have right to privacy too.
Oh yeah, I'm not telling who it was. I'm
They're good.
I
Let me
mean,
right, Joe.
HIPAA.
In private, we should ask them in private. What do they really think of the program, and what has their experience been with it? Because you know what I mean. If they are and they want to keep it private, that's fine. But if you already know, you might as well ask them in private as well.
I believe some of them have also been misguided too. I know that third day of session, I had spoken with a few legislators, and they were excited to show me pictures of
Themselves at AGL,
at AGL in front of 500 pounds of purple mid-grade weed, by the way. And
I think they spray it.
so it's like a big circus that the corporations put on for the legislators. And of
Dog and
course, I
pony
mean,
show,
if you're not involved in this cannabis culture, it's not just an industry; it's a culture.
but
And
even some of
people-
them that are involved.
Oh,
in this
I was
cannabis
surprised.
Culture.
I don't want to name any.
Yeah,
I'm really disappointed in some of them
Yeah.
because I'm a really grassroots guy, and I've
Me
fought-
too.
I'm the kind of and like we are people that are here to we love to help other people, not only to be shut out the way we've all been silenced is, and I really hope that they're silencing us because they're doing their research and reading right now, and are going to come and approach some of the advocates, Cure Connecticut, especially with the equity thing. These are things that need to be addressed and need to be addressed by people that actually have some experience in Connecticut in this industry and want to go legitimate and would like to be recognized as Connecticut residents, not like we're some don't want to turn our
yeah, and we have some champions in the legislature again.
we
The Robin
do.
Porters, the Gary Winfield, there's plenty of people that we could name. But there
Mike
are plenty of
D'Agostino is the one we really have to look at. Mike D'Agostino,
At least here locally as
He
well.
is
As
the
a
one
what?
He's been pushing for this medical.
someone who has
not
no,
as a champion.
Not as a
no.
Okay, because you said that.
No.
I
as
was like,
in
wait,
terms
what?
of writing the
bring him up.
policy, and he
Exactly.
knows nothing about the culture, nothing about the industry, and is making blind choices now that we will pay for the next 15
And it's funny, unfortunately, a lot of the legislators I talked to have passed the buck onto him.
Oh, they all are.
They
all are passing the
Yeah, we'll
buck.
go with
onto
what he
Mike
said.
D'Agostino. We have to go with what he says. Go with what he says. So here's the guy. Really, if we want to look, we know we can talk to
Who
Rob and Tony.
Supposed to be progressive,
Gary.
by the way.
We know we can talk to all these people, and we have, and they tell us things in private. But Mike D'Agostino is the guy we really have to go after.
I believe also the Speaker of the House has to have
Joe
Oh, Lord.
Arsimowitz, yes, he needs some accountability for
Lord.
what he said.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to bring up, Joe, you and I were in a private meeting last week with a legislator.
Yep.
And even,
It has to remain private.
well, no, we
Oh.
probably since it already happened, we
yeah,
can talk
yeah.
about
We
it.
could talk about it.
We had a meeting with Vince Candelora,
Yeah.
who is actually been leading the charge against legalization. And I want to tell you something, and I don't know if Joe feels the same way. I don't agree with everything the guy said, but the
I like
man
him
was
now.
genuine.
He was genuine
He
about
was
it.
real. He came flat out and told us what we were up against.
He even told us his wife
supports legalization
and doesn't
That's
support
right
55995.
I know that's right.
Okay. What he sees.
We didn't
is-
debrief about this.
He
Okay.
told us that if the reality is the legislature is dead set on doing this corporate takeover of marijuana because they have been worked by 11 different lobbyists and they are throwing around a lot of money up there.
And I'd also
He-
like to thank Representative David Yacarino from North Haven for helping us
get that
meeting,
going.
'cause-
Yeah.
And he also believes strongly that home grow is the way, a
Yeah.
Vermont style bill.
What Vin would like to see, because I guess he's kind of conceded the fact that he knows legalization is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he said it, I'm still against it. However, what I would like to see, rather than this corporate takeover, is something more like a Vermont style legalization where you allow for home grow, you allow for possession, you start an expungement process for people who've already been busted, you stop busting people right away, and then you put a timetable on for the legislator to craft and put together
Take their time.
regulations, just like every other state has done it.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it's a solution. Like, look, Massachusetts took 2 years.
It doesn't
Everybody
sound
has.
that bad.
Right. And to go along with what you're saying, what I'm hearing is also out of that meeting, a plant count of 12 was
They were
talked
talking
about.
for patients more,
You
yes.
know,
Yeah.
versus where Democrats are talking 6. So even
Mhm.
out of that meeting with a guy that's not super supportive, he supports a higher plant count.
Supported, that's what Vermont, yeah.
You know, so we have to also take in count here. Hey, that plant count is important. You know, we need a higher plant count. Six. Hey, Democrats, I guess we got to challenge you guys. You're on our side. We love you and all, but 12 sounds a lot better.
Right. Well, what he was saying is, even with a bill like that, you might get a little more Republican support.
Right.
Right.
What was his attitude about equity?
Oh, he had something interesting to say about equity. He says, watch it, guys. They may use equity as a bargaining chip for grow rights. He says when they put the final bill out, you may see an equity piece in there. A red herring, he called it. He said you may see the equity piece in there, but you're going to see grow rights removed. He said they're going to use it as a bargaining chip to put it in there. And he said, and that still doesn't mean they're not going to take, they're still going to want to use the corporate system.
For equity?
Well, because what they'll
They'll give you a job.
They'll give you a job.
Or internship.
Right.
An internship.
This is what
At
they're saying.
42,
We're
I
gonna
want to
allow
be an
you in the
intern.
business. Right. I want to work for $12 an hour.
Say a bad word. I don't even
I said a
cuss
bunch
like that.
yesterday.
Yeah, you did. I had to stop the live. I said, okay, let me go take this live off. It's Sunday. All my church people just see me at church. And every 5 seconds is an F-bomb.
I was upset.
He was very passionate.
You were
yesterday.
passionate. Like,
Once again, G Traders was an amazing event.
Sorry you don't have a
Expo is
live.
gonna be awesome. Yeah. Farming Hemp Expo is going to be amazing as well. We're going to continue all of these conversations there.
Yes.
All of these groups are going to be there. If you're talking, oh my God, how am I missing all of this in Connecticut? How am I not involved? How do I get involved?
Well,
yeah, how?
there's a lot of events going on.
That's right. Come out.
I
Farming
can
Hemp
tell you
Expo.
what's going on
And,
if you want.
Write your
Actually, I
legislator.
think we're
Yeah.
running about there. Joe, we got to pay the
First,
bills.
let's do this.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com/New Haven Independent or go to your Facebook page and look us up. Okay. Well, our guest today was supposed to be Jeff Wenzel from the
U.S. Hemp here?
Connecticut Hemp Association. He's having an event on Saturday night over at the Outer Space. I guess it is the launch for the Connecticut Hemp Association. I don't know much about what's going on. I know there is a band playing, and I know this is against, I guess, a launch. I don't even know what's going on with hemp legalization in Connecticut right now. So maybe that's a good event to go. Maybe you could find out. That's at the Rough Draft. I think it's Saturday.
Yep, a bunch of us will be there. We're gonna make sure we show face for the industry and make sure that we
That's
really
right.
push forward hemp, cannabis. It's all together. So
It's
let's
all
make it
one
happen.
plant.
And
Yep.
we can't let everybody think.
Right.
Come take control of your own future. That's what I tell everybody.
that's
Don't wait
right.
for somebody
Absolutely.
else, and don't let the people doing it do it themselves.
That's right.
Because if you don't come in and get your word in, they're just gonna think that you're volunteering, and it's okay to take you and do what you need to do.
Okay. Now,
What happened?
another thing tomorrow
He's
night.
passionate.
tomorrow night.
Uncle Lou.
I
Living
zoned
on
out for a
Uncle
minute.
Lou.
I zoned out and I came back like, wait, what?
Tomorrow afternoon, Kebra, I think you will be here at the BPRC Forum, the Black and Puerto
Oh,
Rican
yes.
Caucus.
I will be there.
Tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the LOB. If
Yes.
anybody's interested, Black and Puerto Rican Caucus.
I think you need to go early to sign up.
Yes.
I want to say it's either 12 or 2. I remember there
But
was
right.
2 in it. But you could
It's a
actually
speaking
speak.
opportunity. So if you
and you
are a
want to
resident,
make sure
yeah.
cannabis is part
Yes.
of their conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. So if you happen to be at the LOB or you have the opportunity to go to the LOB tomorrow afternoon, please do. Kebra will be there, and speak your mind. Make sure that the BPRC also has cannabis on their mind as well, because it's a very important issue
That's
for
right.
them.
Mm-hmm.
The normal meeting is Wednesday night.
Yes.
Mhm.
That is at the Rough Draft. Now, you can go to the normal meeting. We're going to be discussing strategy moving forward about how to make sure that Connecticut cannabis is regulated properly so that everybody can get involved.
No corporate
That's right.
control.
No
Yeah.
corporate control.
No corporate
We're really
control.
going to be pushing this. So that is Wednesday night, 7 p.m. at the Rough Draft in Hamden. On Saturday, we're doing another cooking class, the last in our series,
Mhm.
with Uncle Lou, Cooking with Cannabis. That starts at 10 a.m.
That's
There are a
right.
couple seats available. Just DM us or get in touch with us if you want to attend.
It's gonna be a great time.
fa-
Joe. It's always
favorite class. Cooking,
Everybody
the
always
cooking
enjoys that
classes.
class.
Because you get to taste.
Food's delicious. Food is delicious.
And then let's see. On the 6th, we have the Medical Marijuana Support Group
Yes, sir.
at Bohemian High. And
That's
that's
such amazing people,
that's
man.
fun, man.
Rich was out at the show last night.
Rich and Gloria
were-
came by.
They came. They super supported, and Bohemian High, I believe, is going to be at the Farming Hemp Expo as
Yep.
well. So they're awesome, and
Yeah,
they
they've
got
been-
this really cool space down there
That's gonna be
a
opening up?
community-
Yeah,
Yeah,
it might be there. Maybe in
Who knows?
March.
Yeah, nice
Maybe
community
the
space.
support group will even be in there.
That's right.
So, and then we have, of course, on the 9th, the big Farming Hemp Expo. That's the next big event here in Connecticut where we all can gather together.
Yeah.
And by then, we'll probably have a lot more information about what's going on with hemp and what's going on with our legalization program here in Connecticut.
There'll be a state of hemp speech going on there from one of the local leaders from the Farming
Right.
Bureau.
Great.
There's
Dr. Uma, right?
Dr. Umer's going to have a lecture going on as well. She's our keynote. We also have Ellen doing a speech. There's going to be a cure panel. And I believe there's going to be an activist panel where we'll be bringing together all the activists for all the different sectors of cannabis. Because remember, hemp and cannabis are the same plant.
Right,
Mhm.
exactly.
it's
We can
just-
have Joe speak. I'll just make sure I got the.
No, I'll be good. I'll be good. I was upset.
So we actually we have a couple more
We have
minutes.
time. We have time.
We do
brother.
have a little time. We finished a little. Well,
Wait,
no,
wait.
we're never
but
can I-
finished.
wait,
We're never
Can I
finished.
say
Yeah,
something
talk
real
about-
quick? Like, I'm looking at the side of your hat. He is such a Connecticut, resident who loves this state,
See,
and
he's even got the state
yeah.
logo on his hat.
Yeah,
and so
very nice.
so legislators, this is the type of business owner that you want.
Yes, who cares
in
about
your
his
state,
community?
he cares about his community. He cares about his state. He's a
That's
patriot.
right.
See,
and
this is the thing. New England is known for craft and
We would do
small
it best.
cottage industry.
We would
Yeah.
do it best.
Rhode Island is, they're going to go that way, and Mass is actually starting to go that way. I saw a couple of ladies opened up a small
Oh yeah, I saw
boutique
that.
dispensary.
Hey, I love
got
a
them.
license.
They're good people.
Yeah.
This is
Great
what you
people.
want.
Bed
You
and
want-
breakfasts,
Oh my
everything.
God.
It would be
My
This is
spa.
New England.
My spa.
If
I'm
they
I'm
just-
hiring that girl. Did
Lounges.
y'all see
That's
that
right.
video I put up
Oh,
of that
yeah,
girl
you-
who
she
was
put
giving
her
me that?
back in it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She coming to work for me
But
at
that's
Madison.
the way it could be here.
I want to say one thing.
Yeah, how do we join, Joe? While you're
So-
here, how do we
Oh,
join
yeah,
the
and
Basically,
you
craft
right
wanna
now,
talk
cannabis?
about
I
your pledge?
want
Tell
people
the
to check
pledge.
us out. Right now, we have a page. It's New England Craft Cannabis Alliance. We have a sister chapter in Oregon.
Nice.
The fella by the name of Adam Smith. He's working with the legislator in Oregon right now, trying to. There's a big overage with the cannabis that's been grown, partially due to some of the corporations that have come in and grown too much, and the craft growers are the ones that are suffering. So he's working with the legislator to legally export it to states that are starting programs and need the cannabis. In terms of New England Craft Cannabis Alliance, right now I'm looking for people to like us on Facebook, and it's going to be an alliance of businesses that are cannabis based in Connecticut for residents, by residents, and it's going to be a representation in that LOB to make sure from here on out that there's a voice for us, that and amongst other things, just to help set certain benchmarks in the industry and for good business practices, though, for sustainable,
So that's something like if like one of the grow shops, like an HEG or one of the other local guys who are opening up their own grow hobby shops, where they want to get involved. And now, even though their business isn't solely cannabis, because their grow shops are for every walk of agriculture and life, but they get in the best worm castings, they get the best worms in, they get the best ladybugs in. This is also another small craft cottage industry that's going to support another craft industry. They don't want corporate.
No, we don't want corporate here in Connecticut. It's never worked anywhere else. It's killed California, right?
Oh, it's killing it. Killed.
Open up the black market.
But they're trying to make, it right now, and it's starting to get on the road, but it's very hard to, once you open up the door to
close it,
because they set policies that are very unattainable for the average person to.
Just like Connecticut did with their medical program.
So if you want to know more about the New England Craft Cannabis Alliance, I just shared it on my page.
Nice.
So please go there and like it and support.
And what's Canna Health open this week? Tell us the hours.
We're open Friday this week from 2 to 6 and Saturday from 10 to 2 in New Haven at the same time as the class. So if you're coming to the class and you want to kind of peek in, we can take care of you.
Yep.
And then in Hartford, we're open on Saturday as well from 10 to 2.
Nice.
Visit cannahealth.com.
All right. We want to help get as many patients into the program as possible.
Yeah. Especially if you all are, if only patients will get grow rights.
Right.
That at least will be a way we can do a little something.
It's not happening.
All right.
Your wet works guys here.
All right.
All right. So I guess we're actually finishing up on time this week. Harry the Brave is next. Just want to remind everybody to go to the normal meeting this Wednesday, the BPRC tomorrow, and that's it. Keep fighting the good fight. We'll see you all next week. Up next, Harry the Brave. People are protesting him outside.
Oh, for real?
I saw the Russian signs. I hoped it was for the cannabis.
The Russians are supporting Harry the Brave show.
So they support cannabis apparently. But hey, stay happy, healthy, and high, everybody. Thank you.
We love you, man. We love Harry, and we love all of you.
We love you. He turned.
I need 100 pigs, and my shoebox got 100 pigs. I'm in Cali every week.
I saw the Russian signs. I hope it was for the cannabis.
The Russians are supporting Harry the Brave show.
We won't go far. Blue service, that's the whole job. 100 P's on the Bay Bridge, stuck in traffic. If I ever run in a Riri, let's make magic. Die doing something you love, it ain't tragic. Heard what I said, it ain't tragic. From the home of lay down, smoking ratchets.